Occasionally, well-intentioned actions can result in unforeseen disasters. A supposedly joyful family trip to Boston swiftly transformed into an unwanted crisis I hadn't anticipated. One hotel door, a revealing moment, and my 17-year marriage teetered precariously on the brink. It is said that events confined within hotel rooms should stay there, but certain secrets stubbornly refuse to remain concealed. I am Michael Anderson, known as Mike to my friends. Currently 50 years old, I've been married for close to 2 decades to Rebecca, and we have 2 terrific children: Curtis, age 15, who is growing faster than I can manage, and Sophie, my 10-year-old, who still believes her father walks on the moon. The morning of that Wednesday unfolded much like any other during Becca's business journeys, with me attempting to control the kids as they prepared for school, Curtis engrossed in his phone, Sophie picking at her breakfast, and myself guzzling coffee as if it were the fountain of youth. We've been missing Rebecca since she left for her extended business trip to Boston, gone for 7 days instead of the usual duration. The family felt the absence keenly. Inspiration struck while observing Sophie play with her Cheerios. I suggested we surprise her by flying up to see her. Sophie's eyes sparkled at the prospect. "Can we really visit Mom this weekend?" I asked, setting down my mug. Sophie's excitement mirrored Christmas morning. "For real? Just show up." I nodded, feeling a surge of anticipation. "We could book flights today, arrive by tomorrow evening." Picture her reaction when she opens the hotel door. Curtis finally looked away from his screen. "That sounds pretty neat," he acknowledged, which for a teenager is almost an exuberant expression of joy. By midday, I managed to secure a day off at work, arrange school absences for the kids, and book 3 flights to Boston. Throughout the day, I found myself imagining Rebecca's expression: shock, joy, perhaps tears. It wasn't common for me to surprise her like this anymore. In the morning, I tried calling her, but was met with her voicemail, a normal occurrence during her intense consulting sessions. I sent a text instead: "Missing you. The kids want to know when you're back. Love you." No reply, which seemed odd, but I assumed she was overwhelmed. That night, as I prepared our luggage, I attempted to reach her again. Still no answer. A tiny apprehension surfaced in my stomach, but I pushed it aside. Boston was hosting a significant business conference at that time. She was likely networking, making contacts, doing what she excelled at. The consulting field was cutthroat, and Rebecca was a fierce competitor in high heels. As I put Sophie to bed, she clung tightly to her favorite teddy bear. "Will Mommy cry when she sees us?" she asked, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. "Perhaps, dear," I replied, kissing her forehead. The best surprise ever was the furthest thing from reality. Unbeknownst to me then, the awaited surprise in Boston wasn't one we were to bestow, but rather a devastating one that would fragment our family. Our flight to Boston felt interminable. Curtis was engrossed in his headphones, immersed in the music modern teenagers listen to. Sophie chattered incessantly about the things she wanted to share with her mother, while I sat sandwiched between them, battling an escalating apprehension. I made 3 more attempts to contact Rebecca before we boarded. No answer. Only voicemail. No ring. I sent another message. "I hope your meetings are going smoothly. Miss you." The notification appeared, but there was no reply. "Dad, why are you constantly checking your phone?" Curtis inquired, momentarily removing his headphones. He never missed a beat. I was merely confirming our rental car. In truth, something had gone awry. For close to 2 decades, Rebecca and I had been married. As with any relationship, we experienced our fair share of highs and lows, but her prolonged silence was unprecedented. Despite this, she consistently found time for the kids. Upon arriving at Logan Airport, I tried contacting her one last time. Voicemail yet again. This time, I left a message, maintaining a casual tone. "Hey love, just touching base. Let me know when you're free to chat." The rental car process was a hassle, with wrong reservations and lengthy queues, Sophie needing the restroom twice. By the time we embarked on our journey towards downtown Boston, it was well past 8 in the evening. Rush hour had subsided, but the city was pulsating with Thursday night vitality. "Dad, I'm famished." Sophie complained from the back seat. Me too. Curtis finally engaged in something other than his phone, contributing. Can we eat before we see Mom? Let's reach the hotel first. I suggested, my grip firm on the steering wheel. Perhaps she could join us for a late supper. Approaching the Marriott where Rebecca was lodging, a knot in my stomach grew tighter. One final call yielded an unusual ring, but no response. The hotel's rotating doors exhaled a gust of warm air, revealing an opulent lobby with marble floors and soft illumination. Curiosity sparkled in Curtis and Sophie's eyes as they took in the luxury. My wife was accustomed to staying at such establishments on her company's expenses. Wait here, I instructed them, pointing to comfortable sofas. I'll check us in and find out which room Mom's in. Sophie danced on her heels, eagerly asking if they could surprise her immediately. Forcing a semblance of excitement, I agreed. That's the plan, sweetheart. Stepping toward the front desk, I was oblivious to the fact that I was heading towards a moment that would alter everything. Good evening, sir. The receptionist, a youthful woman with a polite grin, greeted me. I swallowed nervously. I wish to check in and also contact my wife, who's staying here. My name is Rebecca Anderson. Let me verify that for you. Pause. Yes, Miss Anderson is indeed with us. Would you like me to call her room? Relief washed over me. Please do. A brief pause followed, then the receptionist seemed a little troubled. I'm sorry, sir. No answer. Can you try again? I inquired, my apprehension growing. She tried once more, but got the same response. I apologize, there's still no answer. Would you like to leave a message? I declined. Instead, I handed over my credit card for check-in. My wife is expecting us, somewhat unexpectedly, so it's a surprise visit. After processing our reservation, she gave me 2 key cards, one for room 732 and the other for 718, where Miss Anderson resides. A hint of uncertainty flickered across her face. I see, she said. Let me handle the rest of your arrangements. Different wings? I inquired, perplexed. No, same wing, just a short distance apart along the corridor. She hesitated before speaking, then clarified. It seems Mrs. Anderson arrived with an extra guest, although it looks like that on the system. The statement left me momentarily dizzy. It +1. What do you imply? The receptionist's demeanor changed to unease. The reservation indicates 2 guests in a room. I deduced this. I apologize for any confusion caused. I managed a chuckle that sounded false, even to my own ears. No, it's all right. Probably a coworker sharing the room to cut costs. But I knew better. Rebecca's company usually covers private rooms for its consultants as a point of pride. I collected our belongings and returned to Curtis and Sophie, my thoughts whirling. Sophie asked, full of anticipation, "Did you find Mom?" "Not yet, dear. First, let's head to our room and freshen up." The elevator ride was tranquil, only interrupted by Sophie's humming. Curtis cast me a glance, sensing something amiss, but choosing not to say anything. Our room was standard for high-end hotels. Upon entering, I set the bags down and took a deep breath. "Can we visit Mom now?" Sophie urged. "Just a moment. Why don't you clean up? It's been quite a day." While they were occupied, I slipped into the corridor and made my way to room 718. My heart pounded against my chest as I raised my hand to knock. No response. I knocked again, this time harder. Still no answer, but I could hear sounds within. Faint music, laughter. A chill ran down my spine. I pulled out my phone and typed, "I'm outside your hotel room door. Open up." The noise inside ceased abruptly, then a muffled male voice. I closed my eyes, feeling certain of what awaited me on the other side of that door. Room 718 slowly opened to reveal Rebecca in a bathrobe. Disheveled hair and a flushed face, she showed signs of shock, fear, then annoyance. "Jason, why are you here?" she hissed, entering the hallway and almost shutting the door behind her. Taken aback, I remained silent for a moment. Gathering my words, I replied, "Surprise. The kids and I came to see you." Her eyes widened. "The children are at the hotel, in our room, down the hall." My voice echoed. "They've been eager all day to meet you." Rebecca ran her fingers through her hair, looking apprehensively towards her door. You should have given a heads up, Mike. This is you should have given a heads up. I did, on several occasions. Crossing my arms, I countered. Who's in our room? She winced at the pointed question. It's not as you imagine. Is that so? Because I believe there's another man in there. Is my assumption incorrect? The door expanded further, and a man emerged behind her, tall, well-built, around 40. He was in the process of fastening his shirt. Becca, everything all right here? My sight narrowed, fixating on the stranger who had addressed my wife using her pet name, my nickname for her. Who are you? I growled, my voice menacingly soft. Mike, please, Rebecca began, but I interrupted. No, I want to hear it from him. I advanced towards him. Who are you and why are you in my wife's hotel room? The man seemed bewildered, looking back and forth between Rebecca and me. I'm Trevor, from a Chicago branch. He instinctively offered his hand, then retracted it. I didn't realize Becca was married. Those words struck me like a tangible impact. I turned to Rebecca, who had the courage to appear ashamed, but not enough. You told him you were single. My voice barely a murmur now. Rebecca shut her eyes momentarily. Could we kindly avoid this behavior in the hallway, Trevor? Perhaps it's best if you leave now. I agree, Trevor. You should go. Trevor held up his hands, seemingly unaware of the situation. He claimed, I didn't know. She never mentioned a husband or kids. He quickly grabbed his jacket and exited the room, leaving Rebecca and me behind in an awkward quietness that felt oppressive. After a moment, I spoke. 17 years, Becca, I said. 17 years together, and you're seeing other men during business trips. She tried to explain, her voice tinged with defensiveness. It's not like that. I pressed. Then tell me why our children traveled across the country to surprise their mother, only to find her with another man. She looked away, avoiding my gaze. You should have called first, she said, but those words seemed callous under the circumstances. Are you serious? The audacity of that statement at that moment shattered something inside me. This is MY's fault because I hadn't warned you before discovering your cheating, she said, casting a furtive glance down the corridor. The kids are waiting, I replied, taking a step back. Sophie has been excited all day about seeing you. What should I tell her? A hint of guilt appeared on her face. Give me 5 minutes to get ready. I'll come to your room. I turned to leave, then paused. How long has this been happening between us, Rebecca? She avoided eye contact. This was a one-time indiscretion, an error. Trevor's words reverberated in my mind. I wasn't aware Becca was married. It wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. And as I returned to our room to confront our children, I knew nothing would ever be the same again. The walk back to our room felt like traversing a desert. Each step demanded immense effort. My body suddenly felt burdened by the weight of what had transpired. How was I supposed to face my children now? What possible explanation could I give them? Standing outside our room, I took a deep breath and attempted a semblance of normality on my face. The keycard beeped, and I opened the door. Dad, have you found Mom? Sophie sprang from her TV-watching spot. Curtis looked up from his phone, his eyes scrutinizing my facial expression. What's wrong? He inquired instantly. You're overly observant for your own sake, that kid. Mom would be here in a few minutes. Sophie appeared startled by our presence. She clapped her hands. Is she okay? Did she cry? I responded, avoiding Curtis' scrutinizing gaze. She was taken aback, that's for sure. Curtis suggested ordering room service since we must be famished after the flight, anticipating us already. We opted for burgers, fries, and chocolate cake. Sophie excitedly added her suggestion on the bed. I agreed, trying to muster a smile. Excellent choice. A knock at the door startled Sophie. Arrived is my mother. Before I could prevent it, she swept open the door and rushed towards Rebecca, who was standing poised in the hallway, her hair styled, makeup done, clad in a formal attire. If I hadn't seen her just minutes ago in a bathrobe with another half-dressed individual, I wouldn't have suspected anything untoward. Mommy, Sophie exclaimed joyfully, embracing Rebecca's waist. Ah, darling, Rebecca replied, returning the hug. What a delightful surprise. She looked at me over Sophie's head, and I read her silent appeal in her eyes. Comply. For the children. Curtis remained stationary on the bed. Hello, Mom, he said, maintaining a neutral tone. Rebecca approached him across the room and kissed his head. Hello, dear. You've grown since my departure, I swear. It's been a week, Mom, he retorted dryly. An uncomfortable pause ensued, interrupted by Sophie's animated narration of our journey. Rebecca heard and nodded occasionally at me, looking up intermittently. Sophie announced, Dad suggested we share a meal together. She added, room service is delivering burgers. A slight fading smile adorned Rebecca's face. That sounds delightful, but I've got a professional dinner scheduled tonight with key clients. I forced out a laugh that I converted into a cough. Sophie looked disheartened. But we traveled here to visit you, she pleaded. I understand, my dear, and I'm overjoyed you came. We'll spend the entire tomorrow together, I guarantee. We can explore, do whatever you like. Rebecca faced me. May I talk to you in the hallway for a moment, Mike? Curtis rolled his eyes. Very discreet, Mom. I left with Rebecca outside, keeping the door slightly open as a signal. In our solitude, I asked, Work dinner? Is that what you're calling it now? A faint crack appeared in Rebecca's composed demeanor. Mike, give me some space to sort this out. What are you trying to figure out? You appear to have mastered deceiving your family, which startled Rebecca as if you had struck her. That's unfair. Not fair, she protested. I kept my tone low, considering the children were nearby. What's not fair, Rebecca, is that our daughter spent hours searching for her favorite travel pillow at multiple stores so she could bring it to you. Even Curtis set aside his phone to assist me in booking the flights. Can you imagine how thrilled they were to see you? Her eyes filled with tears. Mike, I've made a grave error. I acknowledge that. But please, don't tell the kids about it. Not yet. I should feign everything is all right. I chuckled bitterly. Put on an act while attending your business dinner. Indeed, it's a client dinner. She persisted. Trevor won't be there. I need this account, Mike. It's worth millions to the firm. As I gazed at her, I failed to recognize the woman standing before me. Your career, it's crucial. She's more concerned about salvaging the situation at hand, not worried about what you suggested. No, of course not, she replied, rubbing her temples. Let's get through this dinner tonight, and we can discuss everything tomorrow. I stated bluntly, there's nothing to discuss. You cheated on me, lied to our children, led a double life, and I don't even know for how long. She reached for my hand, but I withdrew it. It wasn't a double life. It was just one mistake, as Trevor had put it. I didn't know about Becca being married. Save your words, I said, facing the room again. Go to your dinner. I'll handle the kids. She inquired anxiously, What will you tell them? Sophie, bouncing on the bed with enthusiasm, asked, Is Mom joining us for dinner? I hesitated, swallowing hard. No, not tonight, sweetheart, I replied. I don't lie to my children. My mom has a crucial work engagement she can't skip, leaving Sophie dejected. Seeing her dismay made me feel a pang in my heart. However, we had traveled far to surprise her. I acknowledged, I know it's expensive, while sitting beside her and hugging her. She was undeniably surprised. She merely needs to complete her work commitments first. But fortunately, she will be ours entirely tomorrow the entire day. This news didn't escape Curtis' attention, his face remaining enigmatic. Where is she going tonight? I fibbed. A client dinner, feeling the lie sour on my tongue. Oh, okay. He returned to his phone. Whatever. Sophie, ever the optimist, soon brightened up again. Can we visit Boston Harbor tonight instead? Emma said it's beautiful with lights and boats. Despite my crumbling marriage, the idea of being a tourist seemed improbable. Yet, Sophie's eager expression softened my resolve. Sure, why not? Let's finish dinner first, then take a look. Cool, she snatched another French fry from the room service platter. This still ranks as the best surprise I've ever had, Dad. Catching my gaze from his phone, Curtis subtly raised an eyebrow, silently questioning my words. With a slight head shake, I indicated I would explain later. He gave a nearly unnoticeable nod in return. At 15, he was more man than boy, and I appreciated his astuteness. That night, as we strolled along the harbor with Sophie skipping ahead to point out every boat, Curtis fell beside me on a step. "Mom's being unfaithful, isn't she?" he whispered. I nearly tripped over my surprise at his straightforwardness. "Curtis," I implored, "tell me the truth, Dad. I'm no longer a child." I gazed at my son, standing tall and serious, suddenly so mature. "Yes," I confessed after a moment. "I believe she is." I stared at Curtis in disbelief, struck speechless for a moment. His question echoed between us, surprisingly adult, from my 15-year-old son. "What makes you think that?" I eventually asked, watching Sophie dash ahead to examine a large yacht nearby. Curtis shrugged, his hands buried in his pockets. "Your behavior," her gaze at you, added with the fact that when you departed to locate Mom, you returned pale to clever youth. "I don't wish to deceive you," I confessed softly. "Yet, this is intricate adult matter, Curtis." "I'm not a child, Dad," he retorted decisively. "I'd prefer to know the truth than speculate about our family's condition." I inhaled deeply, drawing in the crisp harbor air. "Indeed," I conceded, "I discovered your mother with another man." Curtis's jaw stiffened, but he seemed unsurprised. Given the recent changes in her consulting job, her frequent absences, prolonged work hours, and increased business trips, I suspected this might have been evident to both of us. A wave of sickness swept over me. Had others perceived our situation while I remained oblivious? "You were aware as well, correct?" He nodded. "Yes, and it seems you too may have recognized it, but chose not to accept it." His tone was bereft of accusation, only a sad comprehension beyond his years. Sophie beckoned us further ahead, waving animatedly. "Dad, Curtis, check out this boat. It has a helicopter on top." "On our way, sweetie," I replied, injecting cheerfulness into my tone. Curtis nudged a stone along the pathway. "So, are you and Mom splitting up now?" The remark struck me like a blow. "I'm not sure just yet, buddy. This is all very recent. However, whatever transpires between your mother and I, our love for you and Sophie remains unchanged." He sneered. "If she loved us, she wouldn't have done this." "It's not that straightforward," I admitted, though a part of me concurred with his sentiment. "Grown-ups sometimes make grave mistakes. This isn't like forgetting to pay the electricity bills, son," Curtis stated firmly. She had chosen to be unfaithful. We joined Sophie at the harbor railing where she was pointing at a lavish yacht. "It's larger than our entire house." I lifted her onto my shoulders for a better view, appreciative of her blissful distraction. "Quite remarkable, isn't it?" As Sophie prattled on about the yacht, Curtis stood a bit aside, his youthful visage appearing matured. It seemed he was considering everything, determining his feelings towards it all. "Don't mention this to Sophie," he whispered when she was preoccupied by a passing vessel. "She remains under the impression that Mom is her world." "I won't," I pledged. "Not just yet, but we'll have to address this at some point," he acknowledged, then unexpectedly leaned slightly against me, the closest show of affection I'd received from him in years. "We'll be all right, Dad. You, me, and Sophie." In that instant, my 15-year-old son was attempting to console me, and it nearly brought tears to my eyes, yet provided me with strength. "We would be all right, somehow." "Yes," I replied, wrapping my arm around his shoulders. "We will." When we returned to the hotel, Sophie was half asleep on my shoulders, the day's excitement finally overpowering her. Accompanied by Curtis, we moved silently, his recent disclosure casting a gloomy pall among us. In a low voice, Sophie murmured, "I'm tired, Daddy," as we stepped into the elevator. "Don't worry, I'll get you to bed soon," I reassured her. My heart sank as I pressed the button for our floor, anticipating what lay ahead. Upon opening, the elevator revealed Rebecca standing outside our door, arms crossed, foot tapping impatiently. Her countenance changed to worry when she saw us. "Where have you been?" she demanded. "I've been making calls," I answered calmly, carrying Sophie on my shoulder. Without a word, Curtis brushed past his mother and swiped the key card, entering our room. A puzzled expression crossed Rebecca's face as her gaze followed him inside. "What did you tell him?" she snapped at me. "I told him the truth," I replied succinctly. "You didn't consult me before taking that action," he inquired, and I wouldn't deceive him. Rebecca's complexion drained. There was no warrant for such actions without prior discussion. I cautioned, gesturing towards the half-awake Sophie, and I had the authority to do so. You surrendered your right when you chose to be unfaithful to our family. Rebecca recoiled as if struck. May we discuss this logically? Could we talk about this rationally? How was your dinner with the clients? She responded tersely, having secured the account. Congratulations, I replied, concealing my acerbity in my voice. Indeed, your career is flourishing. That's not just, she retorted. Life isn't fair, Rebecca. Our son now knows his mother is a deceitful person. Our daughter will soon discover the truth. Nothing about this is fair. Sophie stirred on my shoulder. Daddy, why are you and Mommy arguing? Tears welled in Curtis' eyes. We're not arguing, sweetie, merely having an adult conversation. It sounded like fighting, Sophie murmured. I soothed her gently by rubbing her back. It's all right, princess. Let's get you to bed now. I navigated around Rebecca and ventured into our room, but she halted me with a grasp on my arm. Mike, we must discuss something privately, she stated. Not tonight, I replied decisively. I have to put our daughter to rest. Inside, Curtis was sitting on his bed, engrossed in the wall with headphones on. He ignored his mother as she entered after me. Sophie was changing into her pajamas, which I assisted with, and I tucked her into bed, her eyelids drooping. Good night, little one. Sweet dreams. Night, Daddy. Night, Mommy, she murmured sleepily. Rebecca hesitated at the foot of Sophie's bed, uncertain in this evolving family arrangement. Good night, dear, she whispered, bending to kiss Sophie's forehead. Once Sophie was asleep, Rebecca gestured towards her room. May we converse in here? I nodded. Please. I cast a glance at Curtis, who faced away from us with tense shoulders. Are you all right? I asked softly. He removed one headphone. I'm good. You go discuss. Clean up this situation. His voice held no emotion. Rebecca flinched at his tone, but said nothing. In the hallway, I trailed behind her in silence, leading to her room, the same room where I had found her hours ago with another man. The irony wasn't lost on me. She swiped her key card, and we entered. The room was clean, all traces of her afternoon affair removed. But the betrayal still lingered in the air like a foul odor. Curtis despises me, she admitted, breaking the silence. He's wounded, I countered. We all are. Rebecca sank onto the bed, her facade shattering. I made a grievous error, Mike. I can't explain what I was thinking. That's exactly it, I replied, still standing. You weren't considering us at all. Rebecca's hotel room now felt alien, contaminated. I remained near the door, reluctant to sit on the bed where hours ago she had betrayed everything we had constructed together. She seemed uncertain, moving restlessly. Perhaps I should begin with honesty, she suggested, her voice composed despite her inner turmoil. How long has this been happening? My tone remained tranquil, disguising my distress. Apparently longer than I care to admit. A pause, a telltale sign of hidden facts. Trevor appeared convinced it wasn't an isolated incident. I challenged him. He claimed ignorance about your marital status, yet how could he be unaware if this was our initial encounter? Her shoulders drooped as she confessed. We've been communicating for several months. Flirting, she added. It began at a conference in Chicago. So, this wasn't your first professional trip liaison? She bowed her head. No, the confirmation, although anticipated, still felt like a blow to the heart. I leaned against the wall for support. How often? With how many men? Only Trevor, thrice. A tear trailed down her cheek. I understand it doesn't make things right. Indeed, it does not, I agreed, my disbelief evident in the slight shake of my head. 17 years together, 3 children. For what? The thrill? A self-esteem booster? That's not true, she countered. Mike, we drifted apart. You're always engrossed in work or the children. When was the last time you truly saw me? I mean, really saw me, beyond wife and mother? Fury surged inside me. Don't lay this on me. If you felt neglected, you could have talked to me. We could have addressed it together. Instead, you chose to deceive, to be unfaithful. I understand, she murmured. I realize that now, and I'm truly sorry, Mike. More remorseful than you can fathom. Regretful for what you did, or regretful for getting caught. She winced. That's unfair. None of this is fair, Rebecca. Our children will be devastated. Curtis already despises you. Sophie will find out sooner or later. You've destroyed our entire family over leaving with a man from the Chicago branch. We remained silent, the air thick with 20 years of shared memories and the acknowledgement that it could all be coming to an end. She eventually inquired, "What's next?" I turned to her, truly gazed at her. The woman I had been in love with since college, the mother of my children. Now she seemed like a stranger. "I'm taking the kids home tomorrow on the earliest flight," I replied softly. "Mike, please," she pleaded. "Let's work this out. Couples therapy. A fresh start. Whatever it takes. I'm not sure if I can ever trust you again," I conceded. "And without trust, what do we have?" Her expression crumpled. 20 years of love, a family, a history that wasn't worth protecting to you. I approached the door. "I must return to our children. What will you tell Sophie?" I hesitated, fingers on the doorknob. "I haven't decided yet, but unlike you, I won't deceive her." The journey home was silent. Sophie drifted off to sleep almost instantly, drained from the intense emotional ups and downs of our brief holiday. Curtis sat with his headphones on, gazing out of the window occasionally, glancing at me with a blend of worry and something else. Without rest, I hadn't slept a wink following my talk with Rebecca. Upon returning to our room, I discovered Curtis was still awake, anticipating. "We depart tomorrow," I informed him briefly, planning the first flight out. He nodded, showing relief in his youthful expression. Rebecca appeared at the airport to bid us farewell, her eyes reddened from weeping. Sophie embraced her tearfully, bewildered by her sudden exit. "Why can't Mom join us?" she repeated questioningly. "She needs to complete her tasks here," I responded, a lie tasting sour on my tongue. "She'll return in a few days." Curtis barely acknowledged his mother, offering a stiff, single-armed hug before boarding without looking back. As the plane started its descent into our hometown, I pondered over what lay ahead. The practicalities of separation, the sorrow of informing Sophie, and the inevitable inquiries from relatives and acquaintances. However, Curtis's voice snapped me out of my thoughts. "Hey there, are you all right?" His mature, sincere concern caused a lump in my throat. "I'll be fine," I promised. He seemed reassured by my response. "What will happen when we get home? Is Mom returning?" I hesitated before speaking. "Yes, she'll return to the house. However, circumstances are going to shift, Curtis. Your mother and I need to determine what's best for everyone." "You mean divorce," he stated directly. "Perhaps. I'm unsure at this point." I ran my hand through my hair. "Whatever transpires between your mom and me, our love for you and Sophie remains unchanged." He fell silent for a moment. "Given the situation, Dad, I believe you're making the right choice. We all deserve better." His words, beyond his years, were at once heart-wrenching and empowering. He shouldn't have to deal with any of this, but his resilience made me proud. Upon waking, Sophie asked for Rebecca, a poignant reminder that our family would never resemble its previous form. 3 weeks later, Rebecca and I faced each other in our kitchen, divorce documents separating us. She had relocated to an urban apartment, and Curtis barely spoke with her. Sophie was gradually comprehending, in her 10-year-old mindset, that Mommy and Daddy would no longer reside together. "I never desired this," Rebecca whispered. Her gaze lingered above the signature line. "Nor did I confessed. Yet, here we are. Do you believe there's a chance for forgiveness?" Her eyes, once intimate, now appeared foreign. I pondered the question, perhaps someday, for the child's sake. However, some things cannot be reversed. "Becca." She nodded, acknowledging this reality, and signed her name. As I observed her depart, an unanticipated sense of relief washed over me. The ache persisted, but for the first time since that unfortunate day in Boston, I envisioned a future beyond the infidelity, a fresh start for me and my kids. We would endure differently, but we'd be all right.